Ancient Greece, a period of vengeance. The Norse realms, a period of redemption. What comes next? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Signs are pointing in numerous ways for the direction of the franchise, all being touted by Santa Monica Studio as having potential for serving as the next setting for the God of War franchise, and where the Ghost of Sparta will be headed next. We've got some pretty clear indicators within the Norse saga of God of War titles, hinting at locations and mythologies that could likely serve as Kratos and Atreus' next stomping grounds. And we're gonna dive into it all right now. Alright my friends, let's first head back to the events in the latter part of God of War 2018, where we are descending into the depths of Tyr's temple during the main mission, the Black Room. As we descend further into the depths of Tyr's temple, we see a massive mural depicting the lands that Tyr has been to, and presents a great clue as to where the series may go next. Remember what God of War Ragnarok director Eric Williams said during IGN's spoilercast? Yeah, the one where he went out of his way to drop the hints that the clues as to where the franchise will go next rests in Tyr's poses. Well, here in this mural in his very own temple in God of War 2018, we can see that Tyr has indeed been to at least 5 different mythologies as depicted here in this painting. Starting in the upper left, we have what is Norse mythology, the current era that we see Kratos in. To the right of that is ancient Greek mythology, the period that the previous trilogy took place in, and served as Kratos' first saga. The more interesting contents that could shed more light into the trajectory of the God of War franchise are the trio of mythologies as depicted below. This mural is massive, but the space allocated for this artwork here in the lower part of the screen is mighty small indeed, especially when compared to the art just above it. This can point to how the past and present are sectioned off with more space, and more detail taking up a larger footprint on the mural reflecting Kratos' most prominent eras of his life. Perhaps the future is reserved for the bottom of the mural, an indication that there is a glimmer of possibility that Kratos may venture to these realms that Tyr has visited before in his travels. The various poses that Tyr makes during the post-game of God of War Ragnarok reveal as such, as these poses are very much in line with the mythologies he has traveled to. Without further ado, let's start with the one reserved here in the lower left side of this massive mural. Although this section of artwork is small in size, upon glancing at it, it doesn't take long at all to know exactly what we're looking at. Adorned with 2 pyramids of varying sizes, 2 palm trees, and that iconic style of art, we know we are looking at ancient Egypt as a place that Tyr has visited before and could definitely serve as a setting for Kratos as his next mythology. God of War has teased fans throughout its games with references to Egyptian mythology, with the most prominent being again in God of War 2018 when Kratos and Atreus are in Tyr's hidden vault room containing relics and artwork from the lands Tyr had traveled. Atreus puts on a pharaoh's helmet and is seen interacting with some scarabs before putting them in his pocket. These are silly yet brief interactions that tease Egyptian mythology, but can very much serve as a hint as to what's to come in Kratos' future. God of War, Fallen God, a comic book that ties up the events connecting God of War 3 to God of War 2018, details Kratos' time as he passed through Egypt before arriving in the Norse lands. While Kratos may not have interacted with any of the Egyptian gods directly, although possibly from within their animal forms, we do have a canonical tie-in with ancient Egypt, which may be a telling way of showing us that Kratos and/or Atreus may indeed visit Egypt at some point in the future. Cory Barlog has expressed previously that the series is open to exploring many different mythologies, with ancient Egypt and Mayan mythologies being something that could happen in the future. With God of War 2018 almost being set in ancient Egypt, before the team ultimately ended up settling with Norse mythology, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to think that we will be seeing more from ancient Egypt at some point in the future. I made 2 videos that went in depth about Kratos' potential plot to Egypt, of which you can view linked in the description. Next, let's take a look at the lower and central part of this mural here in Tyr's temple to see what we're looking at. If any of you are familiar with these large red gates, then it should come as no surprise that we are indeed looking at Japan, or Japanese mythology here. These tall red gates are torii gates, and are symbolic of indicating the presence of a nearby Shinto shrine. It is said that upon passing through a torii gate, one has left the normal realm and has transitioned into a place that is sacred. The Shinto shrine, of which is usually found on the other side of the gate, is known to house one or more gods or deities from the Shinto religion. These gods are referred to as kami in Japanese. It is possible that when Tyr was passing through Japan, that he perhaps took on the meditation pose as seen in God of War Ragnarok, as Zen Buddhism is wildly popular in Japan and has been a staple of Japanese culture since its arrival from China in the 5th to 6th century. If we were to find Kratos here in a future God of War game, we can expect a rich amount of myth and lore to explore, as Japanese myth contains an incredible amount of gods and spiritual beings that we could see brought to life by the talent of Santa Monica Studio. Seeing Tyr take out his katana with the Japanese instrumental track accompanying the fight in the Valhalla DLC makes me really hope to see Japanese myth tackled in a future God of War game. Would you like to see Japanese mythology in a future God of War title? Again, I've made 2 videos on what a God of War game in Japan would look like, so definitely check those out, also linked in the description. And finally, the lower right area of the large mural in Tyr's temple also contains pyramids, but not that of what we know to be in Egypt. These are instead most likely referring to the Mayan pyramids, which happens to line up nicely with Cory Barlog's statements regarding a possible God of War entry in Mayan mythology. A mythology with incredible depth, spanning its deities and key figures in its tales, displays a remarkable connection with the earth and its environment. There is a treasure trove of interesting details to unpack in Mayan mythology and culture, and its centralized focus on its connection to nature and its landscapes would prove to be an incredible new mythology for Kratos to surround himself in the God of War franchise. Mayan myth is often not explored in popular contemporary media, so having some representation of Mayan mythology would be incredibly unique for God of War. While the last mythology we are about to discuss is not reflected in this mural, we are going to shift our attention to this mural found near the end of the main mission, Escape from Helheim in God of War 2018. Here in this mural, we see Norse mythology front and center, with 4 symbols present in each of the mural's 4 corners. We have the Omega symbol in the top right, a prominent letter from the Greek alphabet we have seen throughout the original God of War saga in ancient Greece. In the top left, we see the symbol of Ra, god of the sun in ancient Egyptian mythology. Below that in the lower left corner, we see a symbol that has been used as the Shinto deity Hachiman of ancient Japan, which has been a symbol also used by the samurai. And finally, in the lower right corner, we have the Celtic triskelion, seen here representing a triple spiral. This symbol represents the 3 movements of life, being the past, present, and the future. Perhaps with the revelation that Mimir resides from Celtic mythology and very much has his own tie-ins to the Norse realms, I wouldn't be surprised if Celtic mythology is explored more in future entries. It very much appears that Mimir is likely to stay with Kratos and Freya, so it would be interesting to see Mimir return with Kratos to Celtic myth, to see not only where Mimir was from, but to perhaps learn some of the valuable lessons Mimir was able to disclose to Kratos and Atreus during the most recent Norse God of War games. With the Valhalla DLC serving as a cornerstone to Kratos' growth and acceptance of his past in relation to what transpired in Greece, it would be great to see more of that introspective growth take place with an ally close to him. Yeah, the one stuck banging his pearly whites on the hips of the God of War, the ally we call Mimir. So, where do you think the series will take us next? Are there other clues that you've seen that lead you to believe other mythologies may be out there within this universe? Let me know in the comments. Alright, so we have looked at 4 potential mythologies that the God of War series could venture to next, and seeing that these mythologies are present in God of War's Norse setting could hold some incredibly exciting possibilities for the future of the God of War series. And with that, absolutely go and check out my playlist I've created regarding the future of the God of War series and where it will take us. This playlist has videos covering Atreus and his quest to look for the remaining giants, all the way to what Kratos in Egypt and Japan looks like, so definitely seek out those videos for hints on what could likely befall the Ghost of Sparta in the future. And thank you all for your continued support. I wish you all an awesome holiday season, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.